2024年的美国总统选举 might be over before it's even begun. Trump 可能已经完蛋了。这一次的美国总统是 kamalaharris 吗？
No.
Well, hold on to your butts as I'm about to update you on what's been going on with the American election cycle, as well as take a very close look at one of the most trusted and accurate polls in American election culture. The New York Times Siena College election poll. Don't let the name fool you. This poll's been around for nearly 2 decades and is accurate as fuck. Now, this poll currently shows that Trump has already lost, but it also reveals the one simple thing that Trump could do that would guarantee him a win for the White House. Now, whereas many people assume that him being pew-pewed in the head a month ago would guarantee him this election, recently there's been someone who's been saying a lot of goofy shit, and it might cost Trump everything.
You better be careful.
So get that bucket of popcorn ready and maybe even a large bottle of whiskey this time, because we're gonna get real about exactly how Trump is failing miserably, but also how he might be able to turn this thing around. Here we go. 大鸡大条。So the poll we are looking at today focuses on 3 of the 7 very crucial swing states: Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Put it simply, whoever wins these 3 states wins the US presidential election. But when it comes to media-driven polls, they're usually inaccurate, poorly conducted, and biased as fuck. And sometimes, actually a lot of times, they're meant with the intent to suppress voters. However, the poll we are looking at today is considered the most credible, most accurate, and most trusted poll in US election history. But for those who don't know, let me give you a little bit of background. The New York Siena poll began back in 2005 as a partnership between the New York Times and Siena College. And their initial intent was to find out what local Americans felt about politics, the candidates, and the elections themselves. Now, the way they conduct these polls is actually quite interesting. They randomly pick a group of people from different backgrounds, including race, gender, age, economic status, education, and even what neighborhood they live in. Now, they normally conduct these polls over the phone, and sometimes they do it online. And most of their polls are conducted right before an election is about to begin and show the shifts in people's opinions. Now, after they collect their polling data, they go over the information, review it, and then try to explain to the American people what it actually means. And that begs the very important question: exactly how accurate are they? Well, back in 2012, they accurately predicted not only Obama's win, but in which states he would win, and they even accurately predicted which senators would win re-election. They did the exact same thing back in 2020, and in their 20-year history, there is only one instance where they inaccurately predicted the outcome of a presidential election: 2016 with Donald J. Trump. They didn't see that one coming at all.
Surprise, motherfucker.
So with that in mind, let's look at some very interesting numbers. The first question: if you could vote right now, who would you vote for, Trump or Kamala? Well, in Michigan, Trump is losing by 1 percentage point, and by 2 percentage points in Pennsylvania. Obviously, we have to consider the margins of error, so it's uncertain whether or not he will actually lose these states. But when you look at Wisconsin, there is a 7-point difference, yo. So I think it's safe to say he's gonna lose Wisconsin. So now let's look at gender. 54% of women are voting for Kamala Harris, and 37% of men are voting for Kamala as well. And there's only 35% of women who are voting for Trump, whereas 51% of men are voting for Trump. So it's pretty much in reverse. And I know all you goofy people be saying, "Oh, the Harris doesn't vote Democrats, ah." But bruh, you can see very clearly only 71% of voters are voting for Kamala in this election, and 14% of the black vote is going to Trump. That's a lot. You need to remember, back in 2016, he only got 8% of the black vote, and that pretty much stayed the same throughout 2020. But now he's nearly doubled in support. And there's another thing you need to keep in mind. There's 9% of African Americans who aren't voting for Trump, and they aren't voting for Kamala either. Instead, they're placing their faith in Robert F. Kennedy. And if Kennedy drops out and endorses Trump, which many people speculate he will do soon, that means that Trump could possibly gain 23% of the black vote, yo. So as you can see, not every race votes the same. We ain't all monolithic, yo. Now let's look at which issues are the most important to swing voters. When it comes to women, the number 1 issue is abortion. Followed that is the economy, and then finally there's illegal immigration. And trailing behind in 4th place is inflation and living costs. Now for men, the most important issue is economy, followed by illegal immigration, and in 3rd, you have abortion. And just like their female counterparts, their last concern is inflation and the cost of living. So why are only 35% of women supporting Trump? Well, do you remember back when he was president, when he put 3 very conservative Supreme Court justices in there, and that indirectly resulted in the overturning of Roe v. Wade? Well, the fact that he took all the credit for it didn't help at all.
They campaigned on that issue and nobody pulled it off but me.
So needless to say, the majority of female Americans were pissed at Trump. And based on the numbers, the number one most important issue to women in America is abortion. But it ain't just women, yo, it's also young people from ages 18 to 29. And that makes sense, I guess, since they are the group least likely to wear a glove when making love. Now, Trump has recently flip-flopped, currently opposing a nationwide abortion ban. But I think the only way he is going to be able to win over women is by coming out right and saying it.
So to my young people and female people, such great people on both sides, it's true. I'm here to tell you one thing. No glove, no love, no problem. Because under the new Trump insurance plan, if you don't cover it up, we got you covered. It's true.
It's true.
So now let's get into who is better at what. According to the polls, 53% of Americans believe that Trump will do better at the economy than Kamala Harris. Jesus, that means that less than half of the United States believes that Kamala can actually do something with the economy. On the issue of immigration, 51% of Americans believe Trump will do it better than Kamala. And then comes the most interesting part of this section. 59% of Americans believe Kamala Harris is better equipped to handle the abortion issue than Trump. So in conclusion, if you want a better economy and secure borders, Trump is your guy. And if you want to deal with personal issues like abortion, Kamala is your girl. And this poll actually has a lot of other interesting details that we didn't get into today, but I will leave a link down below for you to check out yourself. But from what we've seen so far, I think it's very clear. If Trump publicly comes out in support of abortion, he will win this 100%. But as accurate and credible as it is, this poll fails to show one very important thing. How come Trump's number shot up when he got shot, but then completely went down the toilet whenever Biden got Control V'd by Kamala Harris? Well, the answer to that question is all because of one man who just can't keep his mouth shut. And he is on track to ruin the entire Trump campaign for good. So I've said it before, but in case you missed it, I'll say it again. I am not a Trump supporter, but I do like Trump. I like him in the WWE when he's doing press conferences, and especially when he's in a debate.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
It's like watching the final battle of 8 Mile go down in real life. When it comes to him being the most powerful leader of the free world, But the way things are going now, that could change. And me, as a swing voter, I did have my eye closely following that guy whose last name is the closest thing we've had to American royalty. And apparently, a very famous podcaster had a similar view.
Just what they do. That's politics. They do it on the left, they do it on the right. They gaslight you, they manipulate you, they promote narratives. And the only one who's not doing that is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
You a fan?
Yeah, I am a fan. Yeah, he's the only one that makes sense to me. He's the only one that he doesn't attack people. He attacks actions and ideas, but he's much more reasonable and intelligent. I mean, the guy was an environmental attorney and cleaned up the East River. I mean, he's a legitimate guy.
So this went down last week on the Joe Rogan Experience. And for those of you who don't know, Joe Rogan is the most influential podcaster in the world. Although Tucker Carlson is coming up close on him, yo. And Joe Rogan has a lot of Trump supporters, yo. But when Trump found out that Joe Rogan said something nice about a political candidate that wasn't himself, well, here's how he responded.
It will be interesting to see how loudly Joe Rogan gets booed the next time he enters the UFC ring. MAGA 2024.
Hey, I have to be real. This is fucking hilarious, yo. It's like 2个 YouTubers 在吵架, except one of the YouTubers is a presidential candidate. Trump, your job is to unite people and gain support. I don't think beefing with podcasters on the internet falls within your job description, dog. I mean, bruh, you went out and you directly dissed someone who's not only a fan of you, but has defended you on multiple occasions and caught lots of shit for it. And now when this guy says that he's a fan of someone else, with no detriment to you, you come up and be all high school petty poopy pants?
Grow up. Yeah, you grow up.
So if you haven't realized it now, that one mysterious man who is ruining the Trump's presidential candidacy is Trump himself. Them poll numbers ain't dropping because of what caramel word salad didn't say, they're dropping because of what Trump keeps saying. And it ain't just me who's noticing, yo. 130 of Trump's campaign donors tried to take him out to dinner and say, yo, chill, tone that rhetoric down, unite people. And my man wasn't having any of it. His response,
I am who I am. It's true.
And then there's instances like this.
Mr. President, you have not had a public campaign event for nearly a week now. Tomorrow you'll be in Montana, which is not a swing state. Some of your allies have expressed concern that you're not taking this race seriously, particularly at a time where there is enthusiasm on the other side. Why haven't you been campaigning this week?
Excuse me, what are we doing right now? She's not doing any news conference. You know why she's not doing it? Because she can't do a news conference. She doesn't know how to do a news conference. She's not smart enough to do a news conference. And I'm sorry, we need smart people to lead this country.
Bruh, even voters who can't stand Kamala Harris, like me, are starting to believe that you're losing your shit, yo. Sure, homegirl cannot handle conversations with the media, but you need to remember something. She is DEIOP buff as She's a female biracial presidential candidate. And even when you're attacking her on things like this, a lot of America still views things through a racial lens. And this makes Trump look bad. And clips like this allow Trump to fall perfectly in frame with the picture that his ops want to paint. The old, privileged, misogynistic, racist white male. Bruh, you're doing their job for them. So comments like this over the past couple of weeks has cost Trump a lot of votes, yo. And you remember back when we were clowning Biden for his oldness and his inability to remember shit?
I know Willie Brown very well. In fact, I went down in a helicopter with him. We thought maybe this is the end. We were in a helicopter going to a certain location together, and there was an emergency landing. This was not a pleasant landing, and Willie was he was a little concerned. So I know him pretty well. I mean, I haven't seen him in years, but he told me terrible things about her. But this is what you're telling me anyway, I guess. But he had a big part in what happened with Kamala. But he I don't know, maybe he's changed his tune, but he was not a fan of hers very much at that point.
My man was so sure that he sat next to Kamala's ex in that helicopter ride. But then, the worst network in the world, CNN, actually ratioed this fool hard.
Just to clear things up, have you ever been in a helicopter that made an emergency landing with Donald Trump?
No.
Have you ever been in a helicopter with Donald Trump?
No.
You have no memory of anything like that ever happening?
No.
What could he possibly be thinking about?
I have no idea.
Nate, let me start with you. Tell us what happened on board this helicopter ride around 1990. You were there.
I was there for sure. I mean, I don't look like Willie Brown. I'm not Willie Brown. I'm Nate Holden.
Fuck.
Trump, you got the wrong black guy, yo. And racial accusations aside, this got the American people thinking. Trump is only 4 years younger than Biden. When Biden took office, he was the exact same age as Trump. And it only took a little over a year before he started losing his on national television.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
So if Trump wins, he'll be taking office at the exact same age that Biden was. So could he suffer the same fate and start confusing Lai Ching-te with Xi Jinping, ma?
No! God, please, no! No!
And then there's the incident where Trump publicly claimed that Kamala Harris's rally was AI generated. Although many news organizations, Fox included, were there filming the entire thing.
Has anyone noticed that Kamala cheated at the airport? There was nobody at the plane, and she AI manipulated it and showed a massive crowd of so-called followers. She's a cheater. She had nobody waiting, and the crowd looked like 10,000 people. This is the way the Democrats win elections, by cheating.
And this incident played perfectly into the hands of the Democrats, while simultaneously damaging Trump's credibility and reputation. I mean, my man is literally becoming the fake news he fights against. And it's about to get much worse than that. Do you remember in our last episode when we dunked on Kamala Harris for having scripted speeches?
Biden is a failed president. She was a failed vice president. The worst president in the history, the worst vice president in history. He is incompetent. She's incompetent. Everything he's touched has been bad. Everything she's touched has turned to bad things. She can't talk. She can't talk.
In many ways, he's worse than Bernie.
She's worse than Bernie. Low IQ. He's a low IQ individual. She happens to be really a low IQ individual. She really does. She has a very low IQ.
That's right, my man has scripted disses. And now you're slowly starting to understand why I think the orange man being in the White House is all sorts of wrong. He attacks his supporters, won't listen to his teammates, the ones who are giving him money anyway, and has a copy and paste diss SOP. Now, I think this guy is an excellent entertainer, and he is an excellent middle finger to the democratic political system that has been destroying our country as of late. But when it comes to the White House, if this guy can self-sabotage himself so easily, imagine what he'd do to the American people.
Complete and total disaster.
Now don't get it twisted, my man was heroic as fuck whenever he dodged bullets in real time and got up to assure the American people that all was good. He is absolutely fearless in the face of his ops, and a lot of his policies are actually pretty decent as well. But his mouth is dividing the states of America, yo, and that is his biggest problem. And even worse, now this fool is back on Twitter. And you remember back when he used to post 30 tweets a day on random shit? Believe me, if he starts that up again, it will completely ruin his campaign. And speaking of Twitter, my man recently sat down with Elon Musk for one of the most boring, most bizarre conversations I have ever heard. And the blowback from that is sure to show up in the next poll. And with only 82 days left until the presidential election and only a week before the DNC convention, the world can only hope that Kamala will screw it all up.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
And maybe, just maybe, she'll make an absolute fool of herself in the debates, pushing things in Trump's favor. And if Trump wins, at least we'll have a decent economy, a secure border, and some good jokes to watch every day. But I sure as shit do not want to see a spineless chameleon cog in the corrupt political machine running our country in the time of war. Because if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know?
But that's just me. I could be wrong. What do you guys think? Now, I know many of you in the comments are staunch Trump supporters, and you might disagree with me, and you can even talk shit, I don't care. But when it comes to your fellow man, when you're discussing them comments, you better keep it civil. Otherwise, you know what it is.
Get that son of a bitch off the field right now. Out. He's fired. He's fired!
So remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the flip side. Peace!